For Dr. Amelia Hayes, a resident at a major university hospital who barely slept 4 hours a night. Her husband Mark was a constant source of worry, a weight in the corner of her heart. The ambitious tech startup he had launched crashed and burned 3 years ago, taking Amelia's life with it. Mark's credit was ruined, and the entire financial burden of their lives fell squarely on Amelia's shoulders. One evening, Amelia let out a long sigh as she watched the back of her husband's dejected figure on the living room sofa. A quick check of his bank account confirmed it was practically empty. "Honey, I'm thinking of getting a supplementary card for you under my name," she said gently. "Just so you have something for emergencies or when you're out." Mark, his pride stung, shook his head. "No, it's fine. I'll figure something out. I don't want to be more of a burden to you." His voice was weak, but Amelia was already pulling out her smartphone and opening her banking app. She couldn't bear to see him so defeated out in the world. "I'll set a low limit," she assured him. "Maybe $1,000? That's more than enough for emergencies. Don't feel bad about it. Just use it if you need something, no questions asked." "I'm so sorry, Amelia. I promise, as soon as I get back on my feet, I'll pay you back for everything." Mark finally nodded, and Amelia gave his shoulder a reassuring pat. "We're a married couple," she told herself. "It's natural to help each other. Things will get better." She had no idea she had just accepted an invitation to hell. A few days after the card arrived, a call came from her mother-in-law, Brenda. Brenda rarely called unless she wanted something, but her voice today was unusually sweet. "Amelia, dear, are you busy? Could you stop by the house for a little bit?" "Brenda, is everything okay? You sound a little down." "Oh, no, I'm fine. I just wanted to see your face, that's all. I made some of your favorite cookies. Swing by on your way home from the hospital." Exhausted after a shift, Amelia dragged her tired body to her in-laws' house. The moment she stepped through the door, she saw Brenda and her sister-in-law, Jessica, sitting side by side on the sofa, eating a fruit platter. "Amelia, you're here," Jessica chirped. "You look so tired. They're really working you to the bone at that hospital, aren't they?" "Hey, Jessica." "Yeah. The surgery schedule has been pretty intense lately." Amelia took a seat on the edge of the sofa. Brenda offered her a cup of tea and immediately got to the point. "Amelia, honey, the thing is, my knee has been acting up again, and I've been going to the doctor a lot. Your father-in-law's card has such a low limit, and I feel bad having to ask him for money every time." "Oh, if it's for medical bills, you can just use the card I gave Mark. That should cover the copays, no problem." At Amelia's answer, Brenda waved her hands dismissively, as if she'd been waiting for this. "Oh, heavens no. Mark needs that. A man can't be out and about without $1 in his pocket, you know." She leaned in conspiratorially. "So, I was wondering, could you possibly let me borrow one of your cards? I swear, I'll only use it for doctor's bills and groceries to cook for you too. I promise I won't use it for anything else." Amelia was stunned into silence. The idea of just handing over a personal credit card felt fundamentally wrong and irresponsible. Just then, Jessica fanned the flames. "Amelia, come on. It's for Mom's health. Is it really such a big deal? If we can't do this for each other, who can we count on?" Jessica's shameless tone was infuriating, but feeling cornered, Amelia eventually reached into her purse, pulled out a spare card, and placed it on the coffee table. "Okay, Brenda, you can use this one. But please, just like you promised, only for medical bills and essential groceries." Brenda's eyes lit up as she snatched the card from the table, a wide grin spreading across her face. "Of course, dear. Would I ever be careless with your money? Don't you worry about a thing." After Amelia left with a knot in her stomach, Jessica sidled up to Brenda and whispered, "You know, Mom, every time you use that card, Amelia's phone is going to get a notification. If we go to the mall and buy a designer bag, she'll call you instantly." Brenda's smile vanished, replaced by a look of concern. "Oh, well, what do we do? This is supposed to be our little secret." "Don't worry, I've got it covered," Jessica said with a smirk. "You just have to go into the credit card app and turn off the purchase alerts. I got Mark to give me the password. I'll take care of it right now." Jessica's fingers flew across the screen. With a few taps, the notification setting that sent alerts to Amelia's phone was disabled. Jessica triumphantly showed the phone to Brenda. "There. Now she'll have no idea where we're spending or how much." "Oh, Jessica, you're a genius. So much smarter than that doctor daughter-in-law of mine." All Amelia knows how to do is work. She's clueless about things like this. The two women looked at each other and cackled with glee. A week later, Amelia sat down to do her monthly budget and pulled up her credit card statement. She saw a few small charges that looked like medical copays, but mixed in with them were some odd transactions. Mall Steakhouse, $300, she read. Did Mom take her friends out for a nice lunch? That evening, she cautiously brought it up with Mark. Hey, honey, about the card I gave your mom. There was a $300 charge from the steakhouse at the mall. Do you know what that was about? Mark scowled, annoyed at the interruption to his dinner. Oh, she probably treated her friends to a meal. She pinches every penny, you know. She probably just wanted to brag a little that her daughter-in-law is a doctor. Are you really going to interrogate her over $300? I'm not interrogating her. It's just, she promised to only use it for medical bills. The large amount just surprised me, that's all. You're so uptight. Mark snapped. Her birthday's coming up anyway. Just think of it as an early gift. My head is killing me from work stuff. Please, don't add to my stress at home. Mark's irritated tone silenced Amelia, and she dropped the subject. The next day, when Amelia stopped by her in-laws' house, she could hear Brenda chatting loudly with some neighbors in the living room. Oh, my daughter-in-law is just different. Whether I use her card to buy dinner or a new purse, she doesn't say a word. Being a doctor, she's just so generous. You're so lucky, Brenda. My daughter-in-law gives me the third degree if I spend $20. Puffing up with pride at the compliments, Brenda didn't even notice Amelia had walked in. Standing in the entryway, Amelia felt a tightness in her chest. As she headed to the kitchen, Brenda followed her in, speaking casually. Oh, you're here. I've been using the card. Thanks so much. Brenda, I heard what you were saying outside. And I know about the mall trip. You promised you'd only use it for medical expenses. Without a hint of shame, Brenda raised her voice. And what did I buy? Something extravagant. I had one nice meal and bought a little outfit for my grandchild. Are you really going to make a federal case out of it? Is your money so precious that you have to humiliate your mother-in-law? Amelia froze. Arguing further would only lead to a bigger fight, so she swallowed her anger and said nothing. That night, lying in bed, a thought struck her. There were definitely charges from the mall, so why hadn't she received a single text alert on her phone? With a trembling hand, she opened the credit card app and went to the settings page. As she stared at the screen, her eyes widened in disbelief. Purchase notifications. Off. I know I had them turned on, she thought, her blood running cold. This was impossible unless someone had deliberately changed it. Could it be Brenda and Jessica? Amelia bit her lip hard. They had mistaken her kindness for a right, and now their scheme to siphon her hard-earned money was slowly coming into focus. Quietly, she switched the notification setting back to on, and she made a promise to herself. If they crossed the line again, she would not stay silent. The peaceful Saturday afternoon was shattered by a call from Jessica. Amelia, you don't have any special plans for next Sunday, do you? You'll need to keep your schedule clear. What's going on? I was hoping to just catch up on some sleep. Oh, come on. Next month is Mom's 60th birthday. Everyone will be too busy on the actual day, so we decided to have an early family party this weekend to celebrate. Mom is dying to see you. Amelia glanced at the calendar on the wall. Brenda's birthday was still well over a month away. Even for an early celebration, this felt ridiculously premature. Her birthday is still a long way off. Can't we do it next week or the week after? Everyone's so busy these days. It's impossible to coordinate, Jessica said dismissively. I've already called all the relatives and told them. You have to be there. Mom will be really hurt if you say no. Sighing in defeat, Amelia agreed. Just the thought of a family gathering at her in-laws' house already gave her a headache. At 2 p.m. on the appointed Sunday, Amelia walked into a living room already buzzing with the chatter of several relatives. There you are. We've been waiting for you. Mom has been asking about you, nonstop. Just then, Brenda emerged from the kitchen, wearing an apron and a beaming smile. Amelia, you made it. Come, sit down. Having a doctor in the house just brightens up the whole place. Amelia greeted everyone awkwardly and sat down. But the conversation soon took a strange turn. Jessica, casually fiddling with her handbag, started things off. You know, I've been seeing so many nice new cars on the road lately. My friend just got a new SUV, and it's incredible. All the new safety features make it perfect for driving her parents around. A relative sitting nearby chimed in. That's right. Cars today are so smart. Not like the old ones. Brenda, isn't your car getting a little old? It might be time for an upgrade. As if on cue, Brenda glanced at Jessica and let out a sigh laced with complaint. Tell me about it. Our car is over 10 years old now. The air conditioning barely works, and it shudders every time we get on the highway. I'm scared to death in it. The repair bills are going to be more than the car is worth. Amelia put down her teacup and responded calmly. Brenda, your car is actually in great shape for its age. I think it's fine to drive for a while longer. A new car would be a huge expense. It's not about the money, dear. It's about my health and safety. Everyone seems to be driving something nice these days. Her husband, Mark, sensing the mood, added weakly, Mom, buying a new car is a big deal. Why don't you just take it to the shop and get it fixed up? We don't really have the money for that right now. Jessica jumped in with a sly smile. Mark, there are so many options now. Great financing programs, leasing. For a professional like Amelia, the approval would be instant, and the benefits are fantastic. When you think about the family's safety, it's not that big of a burden. Amelia, finally understanding Jessica's true intention, drew a firm line. We're focused on rebuilding Mark's credit right now. And while my salary is good, we are not in a position to suddenly buy a car that costs tens of thousands of dollars. In an instant, Brenda's face hardened. The air in the room turned to ice. Tens of thousands? You both have jobs. Are you telling me you don't have that kind of money saved? Amelia, are you an ER doctor or a volunteer? Is your bank account more important than your mother-in-law's safety? I'm truly disappointed. The relatives started whispering amongst themselves, shooting judgmental glances at Amelia. Jessica, eager to escalate the situation, quickly changed the subject. Oh, Mom, it's not like she said no forever. Amelia, why don't we just go take a look? The showrooms are so beautiful these days. It doesn't cost anything to look, right? I never said I wanted to go look. I already made an appointment at the dealership for this Saturday. We can all go together, get some fresh air. You're coming too, of course, right? Amelia was speechless. They had made an appointment without even asking her. But Brenda, seizing the opportunity, announced loudly to the relatives, Did you hear that? My wonderful daughter-in-law is taking me to the showroom this weekend to get me a new car. Amelia is just the best. The relatives erupted in applause, praising Amelia. She had lost any chance to explain. Mark nudged her in the ribs and whispered, Just say, okay for now. We can look and not buy. If you say no now, it'll be a huge embarrassment for Mom. On Saturday morning, as she was dragged to the luxury car dealership, Amelia felt a deep sense of dread. Something was very, very wrong. Jessica, more excited than usual, clung to Amelia's arm. Amelia, look at that white SUV over there. That's the model Mom has been dreaming about. Just then, a sharply dressed salesman approached them. Miss Jessica Hayes? I have your appointment for a consultation today. Jessica smiled brightly and pointed to Amelia. Yes, that's me. But the person who will actually be making the purchase is here today. This is Dr. Amelia Hayes. Amelia felt as if she'd been hit over the head with a hammer. The person making the purchase. What is she talking about? The salesman, as if prepared, spread a file of documents on the table. As you can see from this preliminary application, we already have a soft hold registered under Dr. Amelia Hayes' name. We just need a final signature today, and we can begin the delivery process. With a trembling hand, Amelia snatched the papers. In the applicant section, her full name and the last 4 digits of her social security number were clearly printed. Who filled this out? She demanded, her voice shaking with rage. Who used my name without my permission? Her shout drew the attention of everyone in the showroom. Jessica, unfazed, answered calmly. Amelia, why are you so upset? I know you're busy, so I just filled out some of the paperwork in advance to save you time. You were going to buy it for her today anyway, weren't you? Buy it for her. I don't have the money for a car like this, and I told you I have no intention of buying it. Brenda grabbed Amelia's sleeve and hissed in a low voice. What do you think you're doing? Are you trying to humiliate your mother-in-law in front of all these people? Just be quiet and sign. We'll figure out the money later. Figure it out? You use my identity to fill out a contract. That's a crime. And how are you going to figure it out? I'm the one who will be stuck with the payments. Mark, flustered, tried to intervene. Amelia, calm down. Let's just go outside and talk. Calm down? Are you, my husband, not seeing what's happening here? They've signed me up for a six-figure car loan without my consent, and you're telling me to calm down? Amelia, who had been patient her whole life, had finally reached her limit. Cancel this contract. Immediately. And don't you ever use my name for anything like this again. I am done. She glared at them with ice-cold eyes. Brenda and Jessica stood frozen, stunned by her ferocious response. Amelia turned and walked out of the showroom. She could hear Brenda's sharp voice calling after her, but she didn't look back. As soon as she reached the parking lot, Jessica was upon her, her voice sharp and accusatory. Heedless of the curious glances from passers-by, Jessica spoke as if Amelia were the one in the wrong. What is your problem? Are we trying to hurt you, or something? We just came to look at cars for Mom's birthday. How could you scream like that inside and embarrass us all? Jessica's audacity left Amelia breathless. Her voice was cold and low, her heart pounding with fury, but she fought to remain calm. Just looking? There's a contract inside with my name forged on it. And you call that just looking? You think using my identity without my permission is nothing? Brenda, standing beside them, shoved Amelia's shoulder impatiently. What's the big deal? It's just your name. Are you going to have a heart attack over it? As Brenda's voice rose, people in the parking lot began to stop and stare. A frantic Mark stepped between them. Mom, Jessica, please stop. Everyone is watching. Let's just go inside and talk. Amelia, you two, please, just calm down and come inside. Brenda snorted. Go inside? Why? Your wife just accused her mother-in-law of being a criminal in front of a dozen strangers. She talked about identity theft. I'm so ashamed I could die. Just then, the salesman approached them with a nervous expression. Ladies, gentlemen, my apologies. We have a private VIP lounge available. Perhaps you could move there, enjoy a beverage, and discuss this calmly. We'd be happy to assist you further. Jessica jumped at the offer. Yes, let's do that. Amelia, come on. Let's talk to the expert. Maybe you'll change your mind. Amelia wanted nothing more than to get in her car and leave, but she found herself being pushed back into the dealership. Inside the VIP lounge, a large screen on the wall was playing a flashy video. The salesman pressed a button on a remote, and a gleaming white luxury SUV filled the screen. This is the newest top-of-the-line model from our brand. From the engine performance to the hand-stitched leather interior, every detail has been personally inspected by a master craftsman. The current price for the fully loaded model is $150,000. Amelia's jaw dropped. $150,000. Even for a high-earning doctor, that was a staggering amount of money. $150,000? She repeated in disbelief. The salesman smiled, pleasantly. Yes. However, for clients with an excellent credit score like Dr. Hayes, our financing programs can significantly reduce the initial down payment. With our longest-term payment plan, the monthly installments are very reasonable. Jessica, acting as if she were buying the car for herself, started rattling off questions. Wow, it's gorgeous. What would the first month's payment be? What's the lowest interest rate you can offer? And we get a better deal if we trade it in our old car, right? She paid no attention to the color draining from Amelia's face, huddling with the salesman to go over the terms. Brenda stared at the screen, mesmerized. Oh, it's just beautiful. The color is so elegant. If I drove this around the neighborhood, everyone would faint from envy. The salesman, sensing his chance, interjected. Ma'am, we happen to have a test drive vehicle available right now. If you sit in the back seat, you'll immediately feel the difference in the ride quality. Would you like to try it? Yes. Of course, we have to try it. You have to try before you buy, no regrets that way. As Brenda shot up from her seat, Jessica stood as well and looked at Amelia. You should come too, Amelia. You have to get behind the wheel to really understand how great this car is. Come on. But Amelia didn't move. She sank deeper into the sofa and replied icily, I'm not driving it. There's no reason for me to. Her firm refusal made Brenda's face contort with anger. Why not? We're already here. What's so hard about taking a quick test drive? Is it that much of a chore to make your mother-in-law happy? Brenda, I made it very clear. I only came here to look. I will not be buying this car. Therefore, there is no reason to test drive it. Before the words were even out of her mouth, Brenda slammed her hand on the table with a loud bang, startling employees outside the lounge. Then why did you come? To waste my time? After I dropped so many hints that I wanted this car. You, a doctor, are going to be this cheap about buying your mother-in-law one car? How dare you act so high and mighty? Brenda's shriek echoed through the showroom. Amelia's face burned with humiliation, but she didn't back down. Who do you think you are to say no? Brenda continued her tirade. The money my son earned paid for your medical school, and now you're acting so ungrateful. The money in this family is Mark's money, which means it's my money. What right do you have to stop me? Mark, flustered, grabbed Amelia's arm. Amelia, please. She's just excited. Let's just calm down. Everyone is watching. Let's just smooth things over, okay? She needs to calm down, not me. Do you not see what's happening? Your mother is trying to use my identity to sign a $150,000 contract, and you think this is something to smooth over? Amelia violently shook off Mark's hand and stared directly at Brenda. Brenda, I'm saying this one last time. I gave you my card for medical bills and prescription copays. I never gave you money to buy a car. At that moment, the salesman, trying to de-escalate, held out a credit card terminal. Ladies, gentlemen, please. Why don't we just process the initial deposit for now to reserve the vehicle? You can always cancel later if you change your mind. The deposit? How much is it? Amelia asked sharply. It's just $500 to start, the salesman replied. Miss Jessica mentioned you would be paying with Dr. Hayes's card. Hearing that, Amelia pulled her phone from her purse. With swift, decisive movements, she opened her credit card app. What are you doing? What are you doing now? Brenda shrieked. But Amelia's thumb had already tapped the freeze card button. A message appeared on the screen. Card successfully frozen. The salesman, looking confused, swiped the card through the terminal, but it only produced an error message. Declined. Dr. Hayes, could you please check the status of your card? There's nothing to check. I just froze it. You won't be able to charge a single cent to this card from now on. Jessica's face turned pale. Amelia, what about the charge from before? What happens to that? Before? What are you talking about? The thing is, Jessica stammered, we already stopped by last week and charged $1,000 as a reservation fee. Mom said it was okay. You charged $1,000 to my card without my permission? Amelia's eyes widened with fury. Brenda quickly tried to change the subject. Well, I was going to tell you later. Is it such a capital crime for a mother-in-law to use $1,000 of her daughter-in-law's money? Are you going to call the cops on me? Do you really have to push me this far? Amelia let out a cold, bitter laugh and adjusted the strap of her purse. No, I will call the police. Unauthorized credit card use and identity theft. I'll let the law handle this. Brenda, Jessica, I'll see you at the police station. As Amelia stormed out of the VIP lounge, a stunned silence fell over the showroom. Behind her, she could hear Brenda's piercing, desperate screams, but she didn't look back once. A chilling silence descended upon the showroom. Brenda's face was beet red, flushed with the humiliation of the unprecedented scene that had just unfolded. Amelia, are you out of your mind? In front of all these people, you're going to treat your own mother-in-law like a criminal and threaten to call the police? What a disgrace. What? Brenda shrieked, but Amelia didn't even flinch. Brenda, you brought this disgrace upon yourself. You took my card without permission and then tried to use my identity to sign a contract for a six-figure car. That is literally identity theft and credit card fraud. Responding legally is the appropriate course of action, isn't it? Sensing the gravity of the situation, Jessica quickly stepped in front of Amelia, forcing a placating smile. Amelia, let's all just calm down. We weren't trying to hurt you. It's all for the family. We know how busy you are. So, I was just trying to do some of the legwork for you. How can you talk about police and lawyers when it's family? Family? Amelia shot back. While you were calling us family, you were secretly charging $1,000 to my card. Is that what you call family, Jessica? Because I don't have a family like that. The smile instantly vanished from Jessica's face. Brenda, realizing she was losing ground, switched tactics to play the victim, raising her voice to appeal to the other customers in the showroom. Everyone, look at this. My daughter-in-law is a doctor, and she lords it over everyone. Her poor, old mother-in-law just wants a safe car to drive, and she's threatening to have me arrested. I sacrificed everything to support her and my son, and this is how she repays me. She's branding me a criminal. Oh, the misery of my life. The other customers were now staring openly, their whispers growing louder. Mark looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. Honey, please, just stop. Mom is getting hysterical. I'm so embarrassed I can't even look up. Let's just leave and talk about this at home. I'll explain everything. Embarrassed? That's all you're worried about right now. Being embarrassed? Your mother and sister just tried to commit fraud in your wife's name. And all you can say is that you're embarrassed. You should be ashamed of yourself, Amelia said, shaking off his hand. At that moment, the salesman, trying to manage the situation, cautiously approached with the paperwork. Ladies and gentlemen, the atmosphere has become quite tense. Regarding this contract, since we do not have the primary applicant's consent, we have no choice but to cancel the transaction. At the word cancel, Jessica's face went white. Cancel? What about the $1,000 deposit I paid last week? You'll refund that immediately, right? The salesman adjusted his glasses and pointed to a clause in the contract. I'm afraid not. Per the terms and conditions, the deposit is non-refundable in the case of a cancellation due to a customer's change of mind. It's stated here in the agreement you signed. Miss Jessica Hayes. What? We just lose $1,000? But that's real money, Jessica cried out. The salesman calmly added, furthermore, if you look at the primary contractor line, it is signed under your name, Miss Jessica Hayes. While Dr. Hayes was listed as the intended final payer, the legal party to this initial contract is you. Therefore, any and all liability for cancellation fees rests with you. Mom, what do I do? Jessica wailed. It's under my name, so the penalty comes out of my pocket. You promised Amelia's card would take care of everything. So what if it's your name? Brenda snapped back. It was all going to be charged to Amelia's card anyway. This whole mess happened because she froze the card. Amelia, you unfreeze that card right now and fix this. Brenda pointed a finger accusingly at her. Amelia let out a laugh of pure disbelief and slapped the documents down on the table. My card is frozen. Permanently. This was a deal you made without my permission. Why on earth should I be responsible for your losses? Amelia, I can't believe you do this. Jessica sobbed. How can you be so cruel to family over $1,000? To a doctor, $1,000 is nothing. It's like pocket change. Amelia turned her cold gaze away. Even if it's pocket change, it was the result of my hard work. Mark stood by, stunned. He had never seen this side of his wife. Brenda, seeing the situation spiral, looked ready to throw herself on the floor and wail. This is a disaster. $1,000, just gone. This family is ruined. Amelia, you are a cold, heartless woman. That $1,000 was my money, taken from my card. Amelia stated calmly. I didn't lose it. You and Jessica lost it through your own greed. It's called reaping what you sow. Without another glance, Amelia picked up her bag and stood to leave. Brenda lunged and grabbed her sleeve. Where do you think you're going? We're not done here. You fix this before you leave. We are done. I'm leaving now. And don't even think about touching anything else in my name ever again. The next time, we will meet at a police station. Amelia ripped her arm away. A lifetime of suppressed frustration was packed into her next words. I'm going now, she said, looking at Mark. You can come home later with your mother. I hope you have cab fare. She walked out of the dealership without a backward glance. The sound of Brenda's venomous, shrieking curses followed her, but Amelia's footsteps had never felt lighter. In her car, Amelia gripped the steering wheel tightly. The years she had spent wearing the mask of the good daughter-in-law flashed before her eyes. Meeting her own gaze in the rearview mirror, she whispered to herself, "This is just the beginning. I will return every bit of the pain you gave me, with interest." She pressed the accelerator and sped out of the parking lot. The game had changed. The overture to Amelia's cold symphony of revenge had just begun. That night, the phone on Amelia's nightstand buzzed violently. The screen lit up with 3 words, Brenda Hayes calling. Amelia took a deep breath and answered. Hello, Amelia? How can you possibly be sleeping? How can a person be so cruel? You made a public spectacle today, treating your mother-in-law like a common criminal and humiliating me. My blood pressure is so high, I feel like I'm going to collapse. Brenda's voice was sharp and shrill, even through the phone. Amelia pressed her temples and answered calmly. Brenda, it's 11 o'clock at night. I have an early surgery tomorrow. Can we please discuss this at a more reasonable time? No. My heart is pounding out of my chest. I can't sleep a wink. And you want to talk tomorrow? Think about what you did today. Do you have any idea how embarrassed I was at that dealership? I won't be able to show my face in this town again. Brenda completely ignored her own culpability, focusing only on the public humiliation she felt. Amelia, wanting to avoid an emotional argument, responded coldly. Brenda, I simply stopped you from using my credit card without my consent. Legally and morally, I have done nothing wrong. You and Jessica were the ones trying to use my card improperly. Is it such a crime for family to use a credit card? After all the support Mark gave you to become a doctor, now that you're making a little money, you're going to act so high and mighty? You are truly ungrateful. Brenda continued to justify her actions, attacking Amelia relentlessly. Deciding there was no point in listening further, Amelia cut her off. Brenda, it's late. I'm hanging up now. I have to be at work early. She ended the call, but less than 30 seconds later, her phone rang again. This time, it was Jessica. After a moment's hesitation, Amelia answered. Amelia, it's me. I can't sleep because of what happened today. I just checked with the salesman from the dealership. He said there is absolutely no way to get that $1,000 back. What are we going to do? Jessica, you're the one who took my card without my permission and charged it. The responsibility for that $1,000 is yours. Why are you asking me? At Amelia's logical rebuttal, Jessica's voice rose with indignation. But none of this would have happened if you hadn't frozen the card today. If you had just agreed to buy the car, we wouldn't have lost $1,000. Because you overreacted, $1,000 of real money is just gone. I have to pay my credit card bill this month. Jessica's voice started to crack, and she began to cry, employing classic gaslighting tactics. You're a doctor. You make thousands and thousands a month. To you, $1,000 is nothing. But because of you, I'm in a terrible position. This all could have been avoided if you had just been a little more understanding. Why do you have to make things so difficult for everyone? Instead of replying, Amelia silently pressed the end call button. She put her phone on silent and lay down, but even in the darkness, the screen flashed relentlessly with incoming calls. The next morning at 6 a.m., Amelia was woken not by her alarm, but by the buzzing of her phone. It was Brenda again. With a weary voice, Amelia answered. Brenda, it is 6 in the morning. I'm getting ready for work. This is really inappropriate. So what if it's 6? I was up all night, furious because of you. And then you just hung up on me. Do you think I could sleep? You get over to my house right now and apologize. Amelia felt a sense of hopeless exhaustion. Brenda, I have to get to the hospital. Please, stop this. She hung up and turned her phone off completely. When she arrived at the hospital and turned it back on, she was greeted by an unbelievable sight. 23 missed calls. They were from Brenda, Jessica, and even numbers of relatives she hadn't spoken to in years. As she was putting on her white coat, her phone rang again from an unknown number. Thinking it might be a patient, she answered. Hello? Amelia? It's Mark's Aunt Carol. I heard all about it from Brenda last night. Amelia. Dear, what's the point of having all that education if you have no character? How could you be so cold to your own mother-in-law? Amelia let out a disbelieving laugh. It was clear Brenda and Jessica had spent the night calling every relative they could, painting her as the villain. Aunt Carol, do you actually know what happened yesterday? Brenda tried to use my identity to sign a contract for a 6-figure car without my permission. Oh, family can't ask for a new car now? And for that you screamed at her in a public place and threatened to call the police? Brenda was crying her eyes out. You can't live your life counting every penny, dear. The facts have been completely twisted. Aunt Carol, this is a matter for the parties involved to handle. Please don't interfere. Amelia hung up, her hands trembling with rage. Throughout her morning clinic, her phone buzzed incessantly. Eventually, a nurse came into the exam room with an apologetic look. Dr. Hayes, your phone keeps ringing. The patients in the waiting room are getting distracted. Is it an emergency? I'm so sorry. I'll take care of it after my clinic. When she checked her phone during her lunch break, the number of missed calls had ballooned to 67. Amelia decided she was done being a victim. First, she turned on her phone's automatic call recording feature. Then, she took screenshots of every threatening text message and saved them to a secure cloud drive. When she got home that evening, Mark was waiting for her on the sofa, his face a mask of irritation. Why didn't you answer Mom's calls all day? She was calling me too, driving me crazy. It's not that I didn't, it's that I couldn't. Have you forgotten I'm a doctor with patients to see? I received over 100 calls today alone. Amelia threw her bag onto the sofa and glared at him. Mark, however, turned the blame back on her. Well, she's furious, and for good reason. You went too far yesterday. You could have just talked it out. Why did you have to freeze the card and make such a scene? What about mom's reputation? Reputation. Your family is violating my basic rights and disrupting my entire life. I received a total of 135 calls today. Is that normal to you? Are you so worried about your mother's anger that you, my husband, can't see that your wife is being harassed? Stunned by her ferocity, Mark stammered. Well, she's just upset, that's all. If you would just apologize and pay the $1,000, this would all be over. Amelia took out her phone and shoved the call log and text messages in his face. Read these. These are the messages your mother, your sister-in-law, and your relatives sent me. Gold-digging bitch. Ungrateful snake. Are these things normal people say? You call your mother right now, and you tell her she will never see another cent from my card. Amelia stormed into the bedroom and locked the door, leaving Mark standing alone in the living room, replaying her cold, hard words in his mind. The next morning, Brenda stood at the reception desk of her local doctor's office. After a physical therapy session, she confidently handed over Amelia's card. Here you go. Put it on this. The receptionist swiped the card, then looked at Brenda with a puzzled expression. Ma'am, this card has been suspended. The payment isn't going through. Brenda's face paled. A few other elderly people in the waiting room, who recognized her, started to murmur. That's impossible. My daughter-in-law is a doctor. This is her card. Try it again. But after several more attempts, the result was the same. Surrounded by the stares of her neighbors, Brenda felt a wave of humiliation so intense it made her tremble. She was finally, painfully, beginning to understand that Amelia's counterattack had begun. Late that night, with darkness blanketing the city outside her window, Amelia sat at her desk and opened her laptop. She couldn't rest. With trembling hands, she logged into her credit card company's website and downloaded the detailed transaction history for the past 3 months. She began to meticulously cross-reference the items Brenda had claimed were medical bills. Dr. Miller's office copay, $30. Pharmacy, $25. That's it? A bitter laugh escaped her lips. As she scrolled down, the list of outrageous charges grew. 6-figure purchases at luxury boutiques in the high-end mall were common. There were charges from Michelin-starred restaurants in the city, and even a payment towards a membership at a country club Amelia had never even heard of. Vehicle reservation fee, $1,000. Optional features surcharge, $2,000. Dealership processing fee, $500. What is all this? Amelia stopped, her fingers hovering over the calculator. She had explicitly set the credit limit at $5,000 when she gave the card to Mark. But the projected bill for the current month was already well over $6,000. How was an over-the-limit charge even possible? She immediately called the credit card company's customer service line. Ma'am, I see here that a request for a temporary credit limit increase was received and approved via a phone representative in early February. The agent's calm voice sent a chill down Amelia's spine. I never requested a limit increase. How did you verify my identity? According to our records, a verification code was sent to the primary cell phone number on the account, and identity was confirmed over a recorded phone call. Hanging up, Amelia's mind raced back to a day in early February. It was right before a holiday weekend, and she had been at her in-laws' house. She remembered leaving her phone on the coffee table when she went to the bathroom for a few minutes. Someone must have used her fingerprint or peeked at her passcode, accessed her phone, and made the call in that short window of time. Suppressing a wave of nauseating fury, she requested a detailed breakdown of every merchant to be texted to her. Just then, the front door opened, and Mark walked in. He saw the grim expression on Amelia's face as she stared at her laptop and sighed with annoyance. What is it now? Are you still looking at that credit card statement? Can we please just drop the thing with my mom? I'm exhausted. He threw his briefcase on the sofa and yanked at his tie. Without a word, Amelia turned the laptop screen towards him. Look at this. The bill for this month is over $6,000. I want you to see exactly what your mother has been doing. What? 6,000? I thought the limit was 5. Mark walked over, his eyes wide with shock. Someone impersonated me and requested a limit increase. And look at this. Your sister-in-law, Jessica, even tried to take out a personal loan using my card as collateral. It was denied because her credit score is too low, so she just used my card like her personal piggy bank instead. No way. She wouldn't do that. No matter how irresponsible she is, she wouldn't try to take out a loan with someone else's card. Mark looked at the screen in disbelief. There were two records of denied applications where Jessica had tried to use Amelia's account as a co-signer or guarantor for a loan. The $1,000 car deposit, the $2,000 options package, the $500 reservation fee. It was all secretly charged to my card. As my husband, are you telling me you had absolutely no idea any of this was happening? At Amelia's ice-cold question, Mark hung his head in shame, unable to answer. The next evening, Mark arrived at his parents' house with a grimly determined look on his face. Seeing him, Brenda immediately started complaining. Why are you here alone? Is Amelia too busy to visit again? Her mother-in-law is sick and can't afford her medical bills, and she can't even be bothered to call. Mom, I came alone today because there's something I need to say. Mark pulled the credit card statements from his briefcase and slammed them down on the coffee table. Brenda eyed the papers suspiciously. What's that? Some kind of important document. It's Amelia's card statement. You spent over $6,000 in 1 month. Mom, what happened? Brenda, not a bit flustered, raised her voice. And what's wrong with that? Is a daughter-in-law not capable of spending that much? When I think of all the sacrifices I made to raise you, 6,000 is nothing. 60,000 wouldn't be enough. Mom, these aren't medical bills. Look at these charges from department stores and fancy restaurants. You were treating your friends to expensive meals almost every day, weren't you? Brenda's face turned bright red. Jessica, who had been quiet until now, chimed in with an excuse. Mark, that was me. I just wanted to cheer Mom up, so I took her out a few times. In the car, Jessica? How do you explain that? You charged the card without permission and impersonated Amelia to raise the limit. Do you have any idea how serious of a crime that is? At Mark's furious tone, Jessica looked nervously at Brenda. But Mark wasn't finished. Don't think I'm just taking Amelia's side. This isn't about taking sides. This is about right and wrong. How can you commit fraud in the name of family? Feeling betrayed even by her own son, Brenda erupted. Are you calling your own mother a fraud? You ungrateful brat. Just because your wife has you wrapped around her finger, you're turning on your own mother? Her money is my money, our family's money. How dare you question me? Brenda continued to frame her greed as a mother's right. Mark let out a deep sigh and pulled out one last sheet of paper. Then what is this? Because this is a charge that even you don't know about, Mom. The paper showed two items. A luxury handbag for $3,000 and a high-end watch for $2,000. Brenda squinted at the numbers, then shot a shocked look at Jessica. Jessica, what is this? You didn't buy these things when we went to the mall together. Jessica's face turned ashen. She stammered. Well, Mark, that was a wedding gift for my friend. I was going to pay Amelia back. I swear. A $5,000 gift? That you secretly bought on Amelia's card, without telling even my mother? At Mark's cold interrogation, Jessica could only hang her head. Brenda, feeling a profound sense of betrayal, slapped Jessica hard on the back. Jessica, you were doing this behind my back? While I was taking all the heat for using Amelia's card, you were out buying designer bags. Mom, that's not fair. I wanted nice things too. You were the one who wanted a new car. The two women started screaming at each other, their alliance crumbling into mutual accusation. Mark watched them, his eyes cold and detached. He gathered his papers and stood up. Mom, Jessica, from now on, you stay away from Amelia. I've already filed a fraud report with the credit card company. You can figure out how to pay this month's bill yourselves. Amelia wanted to press legal charges, and I'm the only reason she hasn't yet. Mark stormed out of the house, ignoring Brenda's screams behind him. Left alone in the living room, the two women now glared at each other, with eyes full of hatred. The stormy weekend passed. On Monday evening, Amelia and Mark sat across from each other at the dining table. Amelia put down her teacup and spoke in a voice that was calm but carried a chilling finality. Mark, starting today, we are completely restructuring our finances. I will be managing everything directly: the household budget, our savings, and even the payments on your outstanding loans. What are you talking about? Suddenly you're managing everything? What about me? Mark looked flustered, but Amelia simply pushed a file folder across the table. The card I gave your mother has already been permanently canceled. From now on, any financial support we provide your parents will be a fixed amount, in cash, at a level we can actually afford. For medical expenses, your mother will have to provide me with the original receipts. After I review them, I will either pay the provider directly with my card or transfer the money to her. Mark scratched the back of his head, looking troubled. But, you know what Mom is like. She's going to have a fit. If you insist on paying directly, it's like saying you don't trust her. She'll be so hurt. Hurt? Are the people who tried to use my identity to buy a six-figure car really in a position to feel hurt? This is my last gesture of goodwill. If you don't like it, we can cut off all financial support to your parents entirely. The choice is yours. Faced with Amelia's steely resolve, Mark finally relented. He was at last beginning to understand that his wife's patience had reached its absolute limit. The next afternoon, Brenda went to her local pharmacy and picked out a basket full of vitamins and pain relief patches. She confidently presented Amelia's card at the checkout, but the pharmacist's expression changed as he tried to run it. "Ma'am, this card is showing as declined. It says it's been suspended." "What? That's impossible. My daughter-in-law is a doctor. There's no way her card is suspended. Your machine must be broken. Try it again." The pharmacist looked uncomfortable and showed her the screen. "See? It says to contact the issuing bank. The cardholder must have frozen the account. Do you have another form of payment?" Brenda's face went white. She hastily left the pharmacy and, standing on the sidewalk, called Amelia, screaming into the phone. "Are you insane? The card was declined at the pharmacy. Do you know how humiliating that was? Unfreeze it right now. Are you trying to make me look like a beggar to the whole town?" "Brenda, I told you already. The card has been canceled," Amelia replied, her voice calm despite being in the middle of a busy hospital day. "From now on, if you need money for prescriptions or medical bills, you have to tell me in advance. I will review the costs and handle the payment." "What is this nonsense? I'm going to spend my own money, and you have to review it? Who do you think you are? You will get me a new card and bring it to me immediately." "No, my money is not your money. This decision is final. Please do not call me about this again." Amelia hung up without another word. Brenda, fuming in the middle of the street, now turned her rage on her other daughter-in-law, Jessica. "Jessica, it's all your fault that Amelia canceled the card. This whole mess started because you got caught buying that designer bag. Now, I can't even pay for my prescriptions because of you." Hearing Brenda's accusations over the phone, Jessica shot back. "Why is everything my fault? You were the one who started this, going on and on about wanting a new car. You used that card for plenty of things at the mall too. For that mink coat and everything else. Don't you dare pin this all on me." The once unbreakable alliance, united against the common target of Amelia, shattered the moment the money dried up. If you hadn't signed that contract, Amelia wouldn't have gone this far. "You sly fox. I knew you were sneaky from the start. You were just using me. You never treated me like a real daughter-in-law until you needed something. Well, I'm done being your pawn." Jessica slammed the phone down. Brenda, trembling with betrayal, collapsed onto her living room sofa. Later that week, at a gathering of relatives, the atmosphere was completely different. Brenda tried to complain about how cruel Amelia was, but she found no sympathy. The story of what happened at the dealership had already made the rounds. "Brenda, you have to admit, trying to use your daughter-in-law's identity to buy a car was going too far," one aunt said. "It sounds like Amelia finally reached her breaking point. Maybe you should take this as a chance to reflect a little." "Reflect? You're taking her side now, too?" "It's not about taking sides. It's about common sense. In this day and age, what daughter-in-law would just sit back and take that? You're lucky that's all she did." Even the relatives who had once supported Brenda now kept their distance, avoiding her gaze. A few days later, Amelia stopped by the in-laws' house on her way home from work. Brenda was sitting in the living room, her eyes looking hollow. Amelia placed a white envelope on the dining table. "Brenda, this is cash for your living expenses this month. And this is a ledger book I bought for you. From now on, every time you go to the doctor, I need you to attach the receipt in here. I will reimburse you for the verified expenses." Brenda snatched the envelope, but her former confidence was gone. The power she wielded when she could spend thousands at the mall had vanished. "This is it? You expect me to live on this for a month? You really are trying to torture me." "The one being tortured was me, Brenda. Stop mistaking my goodwill for your right. This money is something I earned through hard work. It is not something for you to treat carelessly." Amelia left without another word. Brenda was left clutching the envelope of cash, staring blankly at the closed door. Without the freedom to use the card, Brenda's world became eerily quiet. She finally, belatedly, realized that the status she enjoyed treating her friends, the power she held over Jessica, it had all stemmed from the plastic card in Amelia's name. About a week after the dealership fiasco, Jessica received a phone call. It was the general manager of the luxury car dealership. Miss Jessica Hayes? I'm calling regarding the penalty fee for the canceled contract. As we previously informed you, the initial $1,000 deposit has been forfeited. Additionally, as per corporate policy, a further penalty of $3,000 has been assessed. The manager's firm words made Jessica's blood run cold. $4,000. Where was she, a mid-level office worker, supposed to come up with that kind of money? Sir, is there any way I could pay in installments? I can't possibly pay $4,000 all at once. I'm sorry, Miss Hayes. This case has already been escalated to our corporate legal team due to the identity theft issue. If the amount is not paid in full within 1 week, we will have no choice but to initiate legal proceedings. You have exactly 7 days. After hanging up, Jessica ran to Brenda's house like a woman possessed. She burst into the living room and collapsed at Brenda's feet. Mom, it's a disaster. The dealership is demanding $4,000 immediately. They said they'll sue me if I don't pay. What am I going to do? But Brenda's reaction was ice cold. With Amelia's card gone, Jessica was no longer a co-conspirator. She was just a burden. $4,000? Do you think that's pocket change? You're the one who signed the contract with your name. You figure it out. Why are you coming to me? Mom, how can you say that? You were the one who kept talking about wanting a new car. I put my name on the line for you. Are you just going to let me go down for this alone? When did I ask you to sign your name? I just said I liked the car. I knew you were trouble when you started buying designer bags behind my back. Maybe this will teach you a lesson. Brenda turned her back and disappeared into her room. Jessica, left sobbing on the living room floor, wrapped her arms around her head and screamed. With the 1-week deadline looming, Brenda finally dragged herself to the bank. With a heavy heart, she handed over the passbook for her certificate of deposit, her nest egg for retirement. Ma'am, this CD hasn't reached maturity yet. If you close it now, you'll lose a significant amount of interest. Are you sure you want to do this? The teller asked. Brenda felt like she was crying tears of blood, but she grit her teeth and nodded. Just do it. I have to take care of an urgent problem. After the early withdrawal penalty was deducted, Brenda took the bundle of cash, put it in an envelope, and gave it to Jessica. Her voice was laced with a chilling bitterness. This is my retirement fund. You will pay me back every cent, with interest, within 1 year. If you don't, I won't be so forgiving. Jessica took the money, bowing her head repeatedly, but the trust between them was shattered beyond repair. That evening, Amelia and Mark sat at the dining table in a calm atmosphere. Amelia took a neatly printed document from her bag and placed it in front of him. Mark, for the sake of our future, I want to establish clear financial rules. I want us to agree to this in writing, so there are no emotional misunderstandings. Mark read through the document. The clauses were specific and reasonable. The spouse's credit card will not be provided to a third party without express consent. Financial support for the in-laws will be fixed at $300 per month. Emergency medical expenses will be paid separately after verification of receipts. After a moment of silence, Mark picked up a pen and signed his name. You're right, Amelia. You're 100% right. This whole ordeal taught me that even with family, there have to be boundaries. From now on, I'll follow your lead. Hearing her husband's sincere promise, Amelia finally felt the heavy weight on her chest begin to lift. A true sense of peace was settling in. A month later, it was the day of the regular get-together with all the relatives. In the past, the moment Amelia walked in, she would have been met with Brenda's nagging and Jessica's passive aggression. But today, the air was completely different. Oh, Amelia, you're here. You must be so busy at the hospital. It's so hard to get a glimpse of you. The relatives no longer treated her dismissively. Having heard the full story of Brenda's shameful behavior at the dealership and Amelia's firm response, they now regarded her with a newfound respect for her professional career and her resilience. Brenda sat in a corner, glaring daggers at Amelia. But she didn't dare raise her voice or start an argument. Just because she's a doctor, everyone fawns all over her, she muttered to herself, but no one joined in. After the meal, as Amelia was helping with the dishes in the kitchen, Brenda sidled up to her and whispered, Are you really going to keep this up? No card, a pittance for living expenses. Are you happy now that you're torturing your mother-in-law? Without pausing her rinsing, Amelia replied calmly, Brenda, I'm consistently paying your medical and prescription costs, and the living expenses I provide are more than enough for 2 people. If you desire a lifestyle beyond that, that is something you will have to provide for yourself. It's not about lifestyle. It's about my dignity. I can't even treat my friends to a nice lunch anymore. What kind of life is this? Dignity isn't bought with money, Brenda. And my rules are not going to change. Amelia's voice was quiet, but it held an unshakable authority. Jessica, who was about to leave the kitchen, saw them and forced a smile, looking nervously at Amelia. Amelia, I was so out of line before. I promise I will never put you in a difficult position like that again. I'm truly sorry. Amelia couldn't tell how sincere the apology was, but she had decided not to waste her energy on such things anymore. Okay, she said, turning her attention back to the dishes. Their words could no longer hurt her. On the drive home, Mark glanced at Amelia from behind the wheel. Honey, did you see the way Mom couldn't even look you in the eye today? It's like a totally different world from before. I didn't do anything special. I just protected what was mine. It's strange. It feels like everything is finally falling into its proper place. Amelia, you've been through so much, fighting this all on your own. I'm so sorry I wasn't the strong support you needed. Amelia placed her hand over her husband's on the steering wheel. Thank you for understanding me now. From now on, let's live our lives. For us. In the back seat, instead of the usual containers of leftovers forced upon them by her in-laws, sat a box containing a sweet cake that Amelia had chosen herself. Brenda and Jessica might never truly like her, but that was no longer Amelia's problem. She hadn't raised her voice or lowered herself with an emotional outburst. She had simply drawn a necessary line to protect herself, and that single line had restored the broken order of their family.